Good morning. We're going to go ahead and start our 4% NIFA and Nebraska Department of Economic Development application workshop. Today, we do not have any staff from the Department of Economic Development available, but keep in mind that any questions will be shared, and then we will have an FAQ that we can share out to the web, to our website, to be able to answer questions as we can. First, I would like to just touch on NIFA's mission, vision, and values because it's core to what we do every day. We're always thinking about commitment, integrity, collaboration, innovation, and stewardship in everything we do on a day-to-day basis. So we'll go ahead and start out with a quick introduction of our team. Everyone that's online from NIFA and DED. I'm Sarah Takota. I am the Low Income Housing Tax Credit Allocation Manager. And then we have Pam.
I'm Pam Skinner. I'm the Low Income Housing Tax Credit Assistant Allocation Manager. Cassandra?
I'm Cassandra Stark, and I'm the Allocation Coordinator.
And then other NIFA staff, I think we have Kelly on. Kelly?
Hi there, I'm Kelly Schultz. I'm the Low Income Housing Tax Credit Compliance Manager.
Tammy?
Hi, I'm Tammy Bird. I'm the LIHTC Compliance Compliance Manager.
And I'm not sure, do we have, Pam, do you have the list in front of you? Do we have any other NIFA staff on right now?
No.
Okay.
That's it.
Awesome. Awesome. So thanks, compliance team, for joining us today. I always talk about how that the tax credit, our tax credit team is sort of like a relationship. So my team, the allocation side, gets the fun part of like the dating and the exciting beginning part of a relationship. And then the compliance team has, you know, after the honeymoon and the hard work that goes into the relationship. So we really appreciate them being here today, just to chime in if anything pops up, or again, just to know that we work together closely every day, and we're here as a team to help out and answer any questions you may have. So we'll start out with general policy updates. I know that that this is the big question that probably everyone has is what is NIFA's official policy going to be regarding volume cap in light of the 50% test going down to 25%. We do not have an official policy that we've released yet. We will be releasing this very soon. The direction we are leaning is sort of a general policy that we're seeing a lot of HFAs target for this year, and that is the higher of 30% of aggregate basis or permanent supportable debt. So to think about, one of the things we think about is we understand that some of these deals have been underway for a while. So our word for this is we're going to try to have some flexibility, but we're going to very much encourage that you use the least amount of volume cap that you need for your project. Obviously, part of this getting passed, the Big Beautiful Bill, and this being included in the Big Beautiful Bill, was that this is going to create more units. So while we understand that there'll be, you know, that we will need to have some flexibility, we do really want to encourage everyone very strongly to try to reduce your volume cap request. And again, policy will be out very soon. And also, I know we're going to talk about letter of intent here shortly. The amount that you're asking for in your letter of intent, we fully expect that there could be some change. So don't worry about not being able to have the flexibility to change things. One of the other items is Section 811 project rental assistance. We do not have any additional guidance on this. NIFA did get an award last year, but at this point in time, we don't have a contract. We don't have anything where we feel comfortable moving forward with including points in this application. It's a lot of points. So we don't want to give anyone points and then in the long run we don't have those funds available. So they have been removed for this category. Just again, due to the timing, we don't know if we're going to have those funds available. So we still want to encourage you that if you're interested in eventually having those Section 811 project-based rental assistance on your project, definitely let us know because we can reach out to you once we receive further guidance. So the submittal dates for the 2026 4% tax exempt bond application, we have our letter of intents due July 30th. The full application is due September 9th. Threshold deficiency will be due November 6th. And then allocations are planned to be issued at our December board meeting. Letter of intent, we just really wanted to quickly touch on a little bit about the letter of intent and remind everyone that it is due by 5 p.m. Central on July 30th. And you send that to our TXCR email, which is it's listed out in the application. So you should have that handy in the application documents. And then things that we'd like to see is part of the detailed description of the development is the location, the number of units. DED would like to know if you're planning on requesting any of their funds, and then other pertinent information that you feel is really valuable for us to know right from the jump of the application. But at a minimum, location, number of units. We also, of course, need to know who you're going to use as a bond issuer. Are you going to choose NIFA as a bond issuer? Is there another organization that you're working with? For example, Omaha Housing Authority, the City of Lincoln, things like that. And then again, we need to know the amount of your volume cap request. This is just hopefully going to really give us a good idea of what applications we have coming in so we can sort of plan our time going forward through the end of the year. And then I'm going to turn it over to Pam to talk a little bit about our application process and the reviewer tool that we use for application.
Hello, everyone. If I can, there it is. I'll start sharing my screen. So when you click on that link that Sarah had just shown, it'll bring you here to apply for LIHTC. Make sure there are different links for each of the applications. So this is with the state tax credit and it has all the deadlines here as well. And then there's one for just the 4% LIHTC only. When you click on these links, it'll take you to your portal where you can start your application, which I know some have already started applications. Here it also provides you details about your letter of intent, the email that you need to submit it to, the deadline, all of that, and then the deadline for the application itself is here as well. And it also provides you this link right here where you can go to the qualified allocation plan, the exhibit examples, and all of our required exhibit templates. So I'm going to click here so you can see this. Right here is the 26, 27, 28 qualified allocation plan. These right here are this right here is the actual housing credit allocation plan for the 4% and the bond application. In exhibit examples, this is a very important chapter for everyone to review and make sure that you're following. It has a lot of details about what we're looking for those exhibits that don't necessarily have a template. And the templates are found right under here under individual forms. So you have your fee schedule for the tax exempt bond cycles, all of your required certifications, and then you have our templates that we provide. And then home, if you're applying for DED funding for home or HTF, they have all of their exhibits as well on our website. So you don't have to go to theirs as in addition to ours, but they're all right here for, all of these forms are fillable. Some have requirements of being on your own letterhead, so make sure you put them on your own letterhead. Since we're here right now, I'm going to show you the exhibit examples and why it is really important to review these. One thing that we have provided this year, I'm going to go down to the exhibit example for the HCCP, what we're looking for specifically. Sorry. So for the exhibit 208, which I'll talk about later as well, but these are what we're looking for. It provides the website for you to be able to go and look, and then you can just provide a screenshot like this for your exhibit to show that they are in fact still an HCCP certified. And then I will go back to this one, and we were on this screen. If you do have any questions about my thing just went to the wrong screen. If you do have any questions about navigating the website, please just let us know and we can help you. And I'm going to go here. And I don't know why it won't let me change the screen. So I'm going to, what screen do you see right now?
Not your screen. Do you want me to share mine again?
Yeah, please just share it. I'll stop sharing. I don't know. It took it to a totally different monitor and I can't get it to move.
Yeah, no, that's okay. We definitely, I'll go ahead and share. Just one sec.
I had it all set up and then it decides it doesn't like the monitor I'm on.
That's how it works sometimes.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, here you
Perfect.
go.
Thank you. Okay, I'm just going to go over some basic stuff for our applications. For the file naming, please include the exhibit number at the beginning. So whether you say exhibit number, I know some people will just number them 1, 2, but for like example, if you're doing it, the exhibit 6, and then you can put the project name that you're working on, or you can say Exhibit 6 Utilities. Please limit them to 20 characters. We have found issues with trying to download them and then being able to open them. And so it just kind of causes a little bit of issues on our end with the application software that's online. No special characters, so just letters, numbers, and spaces. It's very helpful if there are no special characters listed. And please make sure that each exhibit that you're providing uploaded has its own unique file name. Don't have a file name exhibit 100, but then also have exhibit 100 for exhibit 209. It's very difficult when we download them all as files to know which one is actually the exhibit 100 then. That is one of the reasons we ask for you to be able to label them as exhibit and then 100, exhibit 209. Just make sure to label them with their actual exhibit number. And there are different ways to name them in viewer versus file name. So make sure that the file name that you're uploading is actually in line with the way we like it to be labeled. That way, when we download it, it's actually the way that we need it to be for our files digitally. And we do share those with other scoring members of the team. So we need to be able to not have confusion about which file is for which exhibit. In regards to the exhibits themselves as well, please no cover pages. They're not necessary. The more pages that are uploaded, it kind of can bog down the system a little bit. So we just want to make sure that all the exhibits are put together. It's in one file. It needs to be PDF, except for the 2 exhibits, Exhibit 18 and Exhibit 111. Those must be Excel files. All the other files need to be PDFs. I believe we've been working on making sure that none of the uploads are allowing anything other than what we're requiring, but sometimes they can get missed. So just make sure to upload the PDF or the Excel file. And please no zip files. This is one of the reasons it's very difficult to download those as well, and I'm not sure reviewer will accept them anyways. So when you're putting the exhibits together, especially for an exhibit like 103 that has multiple different files that you would need to combine, it needs to be in one file labeled as Exhibit 103. It makes it easier when we're scoring to be able to just to go through the file itself as one, and if you don't put them all together, you're going to miss some of the documents being there. For general information in regards to the exhibit, in the application on page 19 of the 4% application is where all of your 100 level exhibits start. That section will provide you details about what is required for each exhibit. Make sure to read those. We have changed a lot of things since last year. We've added some things, we've removed some things, so please make sure to read each exhibit section. We try to provide as much detail as possible to make sure you don't have any questions after reading that. For the other selection criteria, which is all of the scoring metrics, that starts on page 29 of the exhibit. And we do have some new exhibits and exhibits that have changed sections of scoring, and we'll go through them in a couple slides. All fillable required exhibit templates, like I said, can be found on NIFA.org. Please make sure to use those documents, and they're fillable. Most of them should be able to, if you need to put them on your letterhead, like I said earlier, you should be able to put them on your letterhead with ease. We try to make sure that the fillable documents have everything that we need, and it's very easy for you guys just to plug in some information. And like I said before, just make sure you review all of the requirements for each separate exhibit, as we don't want you to miss anything for each of these exhibits, especially with the new other scoring criteria, because there are several items that have changed and some of the requirements have changed. And when we go through the application process, while you can change some of your deficiencies with your threshold, you're not going to be able to change other selection criteria. So we just want to emphasize, make sure to read those applications and get everything, you're meeting everything that needs to be required for the other selection criteria. Other things just to keep in mind, don't alter any of the documents after third-party signature. That is not acceptable. And if we see something that may seem like it has been done, we'd question that. And please, like I said, read the requirements of the exhibits. It's very important, and utilize the exhibit examples chapter. Some of those exhibits that we have in our application, we can't get fully into depth in them, so we put them in exhibit examples to assist you in completing some of those documents. And then for any reviewer issues, while it's fine to try to reach out to us, it just can create time where you may not be able to reach us, or it may just be a lag of communication. So there is a way to chat with reviewer themselves on the application site. So you can there's a little talking box, you click that, and then you can ask questions. And then you should be able, if you needed to be able to reach them as well. If you do reach out to reviewer, please email Cassandra, Sarah, and I, just so we can have a record of it and follow up to make sure your concerns or issues have been addressed in a timely manner and there's no further follow-up on our end. Sometimes there may be an issue with, oh, it's not accepting my upload. We may need to get involved in that as well. Threshold issues. Some of the common mistakes we've been seeing is people, over the years not reading the exhibits portions in the section that refers to each exhibit. So please read those requirements. We can't emphasize that enough. You got to read them to make sure you're meeting everything. And one of the things that we implemented I think in the last QAP, to try to make it easier for you guys as the applicants, is that for the Exhibit 100, all your architect has to do is certify to that square footage summary chart on the unit information tab of the Exhibit 111. That way the architect doesn't have to list out all of the other square footages or anything like that, because if it's put in the exhibit, we have to review it. So if your architect does put in all of those different unit sizes, we will be verifying that it matches the Exhibit 111 that has been uploaded with your application. And if they don't match, that's an issue. So that's one of the reasons that we implemented this, is because there was a lot of times where it may change that we needed to make sure that it was still accurate. Again, with the Exhibit 100s, it's really important to read what's required, as we need the floor plan schematics of the building, but we also need individual floor plans. Like if you have a unit at 500 square feet and a unit at 600 square feet, we still need to see all of those different unit types listed. And please make sure to label them. It is really important. It's really hard for us to sit here and say, okay, well, that's the 500 unit and that's the 600 unit, but they're not labeled. It's really important to make sure that you label all of the requirements that we need in regards to when you're looking at Exhibit 209, since we don't ask for the architect plans anymore, that you make sure all of that stuff is labeled as well. That's required on the actual architect plans. And also in addition to the elevation plans, we need to make sure that those are labeled as well. For Exhibit 102, make sure you're using the most up-to-date form. Now, I realize that it is out of date, but we need the most up-to-date form that is out there. If it's not, we turn it back to you to make sure that you complete it. And we do have a link to where you can go and access the most up-to-date form. I believe that form is like January of 2021, but that's the most up-to-date one that you would need. For Exhibit 103, it's really important that you provide the current ownership for the property, the land, all of that, that you show that. We ask for that in Exhibit 103. We just want to make sure that the evidence is there to show who the current owner is, along with an appraisal and attestation that we require to state that there's no other agreement between parties when you're looking at an option to purchase, those types of things. If you have the recorded warranty deed, that's also an option as well, but make sure that there's current ownership, and the appraisal and attestation form is attached in Exhibit 103. On Exhibit 108 and 116, the sources from your Exhibit 111 need to match what's listed as sources on those exhibits. I know that a couple years ago, we asked that you have all of the numbers provided, like what they were. We realized that those numbers will change. And so we don't necessarily need the exact amount that you have on your Exhibit 111 for your other funding sources. We just want to make sure that you have, if you're applying for TIF, that you have it on there. If you're having home, DED home funds or city home funds, that they're listed as actual sources, in addition to the tax credits and your loans obviously listed. We don't need the actual numbers associated with those. We need them to be in Exhibit 111. And for the Exhibit 111, we have changed some of the reserve requirements. We did increase those for non-senior projects and senior projects. So please make sure to reference those in the application. I think I can't remember if we kind of matched what, we upped them. One's 300 and one's 350. I know that. I can't remember off the top of my head which they are, which I usually can, but I can't do that now. I do want to make sure that everyone knows when you're filling out the Exhibit 111, we need whole numbers. We don't allow you to show decimals for a reason. We need the whole numbers. We don't want any averages. We want exactly what they are. So if you have several units that you don't have enough lines for, please reach out to us, and please include Cassandra, Sarah, and myself on an email. And whoever is in the office, maybe one of us is on vacation or we're in meetings, the other one of us will be able to get the Exhibit 111 back to you. If you've already started Exhibit 111, please make sure to send that exhibit in the email as well and identify how many lines you needed and where you need them added. We have the Exhibit 111 locked, so that is something that we would have to do from NIFA. And again, use whole numbers. That's another reason it helps us be able to make sure that what we're getting for our underwriting is matching to your Exhibit 111. Sometimes we get some issues if there's rounding and then they're not matching. I do want to add that we have added a leverage tab in the Exhibit 111 specifically for 4%. It's 4% leverage. And so please make sure to fill that out when you're having leverage. The leverage portion didn't change that much, except with the fact that we did remove the developer owner financial support and put that under leverage. But all of that would need to be identified on that 4% leverage tab in the Exhibit 111 for us to be able to go back to review for your points for that section. And other selection criteria. So we do have some changes in regards to the mixed income development points. So those actually, in order to receive mixed income development points, you have to have an applicable fraction. It can't be 100%. It has to show that you have market rate units alongside your LIHTC units. There won't be those are units that you're not condoing out into a separate parcel. They will all be in one bin and show that there is an actual applicable fraction, which would then do the next available unit rule. And again, those would be the moderate income units. We do have the development of market rate units, which is a section that we added to help those who do develop some other developments alongside with their LIHTC project, but not having them to have to meet the LIHTC project. When you're reviewing that, make sure you understand everything that's written in there, because there are some requirements for that section. We did realize that we had left out where to provide information about those market rate units that you're developing. So if you are seeking points in that section, please make sure to include that in the Exhibit 1. Provide detail about the development of market rate units, because these units must not be on the Exhibit 111. They should not be there anywhere near it. Only the units that would be for an applicable fraction should be on your Exhibit 111. These units would be in addition to what you're currently working on for the tax credits. For Exhibit 205, make sure that when you're doing that exhibit, you are doing the proof of delivery, which it can just be, whether you send it by required signature, by FedEx, that type of thing, showing that it was signed, that it had been received. We don't need the PHA to sign anything. We just need to know that they are in receipt of that actual document. We did change that for an ease on your part, and wanting to make sure that the PHAs knew that we're not requiring anything of them, but we are requiring, if you're seeking those points, that you will be reaching out to them, and that's just to let them know. For Exhibit 206, we did put a section in there where you will lose 3 points if you have asked for a tax credit increase within the last 12 months for any project. And that is for an applicant, owner, or consultant. For the consultant part of that, that's for the consultant when they're acting in the role of a developer or an applicant of tax credits. So that would be like a consultant that has his own business on the side, or his or her own business on the side, but they're not necessarily for your project's had. So if they had requested, they would then be part of the where you would lose the 3 points. Just make sure you understand that. So if you are a consultant that doesn't do any projects within the state of Nebraska that on their own as a developer applicant, and you haven't received any tax, you haven't requested any tax credit increase, then those -3 points wouldn't affect your application. On the Exhibit 208, we did change the wording to make sure it said current and active documentation. Again, in the exhibit examples, like I showed you a little bit ago, we show exactly what we're looking for because that's what is from the website from the National Home Builders Association. So please just make sure that gets uploaded as well if you're seeking HCCP points. In Exhibit 209, like I was talking about earlier in Exhibit 100, please make sure to label everything that is required for you to label, like the siding, the exterior additions, and we have provided a place on the online application where you can list the exterior additions. And make sure your architect is certifying to what you're actually doing and they're not just copying the application. If they differ, if your architect does that and they differ, then we're not sure what is actually supposed to be. So you could be looking at possibly losing points at that point. We need the items to be labeled so we can understand exactly where they are and what we're looking at on the architect plans. That also goes with the amenities. It's sometimes we may think that something's a washer and dryer, but unless it is labeled, we don't know for sure. Because each architect has their own way of showing how things are on the plans. And we just want to make sure that we're looking at things to make sure that we can associate them back with your points. Leverage and collaboration. I just want to make sure you understand it. In the application on the Exhibit 111, there is a tab specifically for you to list out your leverage and collaboration. That way you don't have to, it shows us what the funding is and you can put it on there, and it should actually give you a percentage as well as what your leverage is on those. For the areas of high opportunity, we do know that the way that it is set up right now is a little cumbersome, and we do have it linked to where you can go and look at those on the website. However, it's not searchable. And so we're in the process of working on a way to create a searchable map, essentially, for you guys to be able to type in an address and be able to go see the breakout of each point. We are working on this. We are hoping that it will be available no later than mid-August to be able to put on the website for you as well. It would make your life a little bit easier and ours on our end a little bit easier as well. But we just wanted to let you know that we are trying to fix that issue internally, and we have started the process already. And we have someone working on making sure that it is going that direction. I will say for updates, we will be sending out an email once it is live, but if you do attend the office hours as well, we can provide updates in those sessions to let you know where we're at with that. On the Exhibit 218, this is a new exhibit. It's the DHHS Division of Behavioral Health referral commitment. This is kind of similar to Exhibit 205 for the PHAs, only these need to go to the Division of Behavioral Health regional offices. Don't just send it to DHHS. It needs to go to the DBH regional office. We do have links in the application that you can click on for each different region for where your project is. Make sure that you are sending it to that office and you provide the proof of delivery that is required for that exhibit to that office. We just want to make sure that that's clear that you need to send it to that specific office and not just a DHHS somewhere, because that then is essentially not getting to the Division of Behavioral Health regional office, and there are 6 across the state.
Pam mentioned the Q&A sessions. We do have 3 of those scheduled, as you can see here. They're very informal. We're there for a half an hour, and it's simply open office hours. You can ask questions. If we don't have a lot of questions, we'll still be on the line. If no one else shows up, we will be on there for the entire half hour, and DED staff tries to join as well. Again, it's just another way for you to hop on and ask a specific question. So the links will be available. We'll put this presentation online on our website. But in the meantime, if you'd like to, you can go to the event calendar for NIFA, and each of these are listed on our event calendar as well. And of course, if you have any questions, here we have outlined, we've talked about emailing us specific items if you need forms changed and things like that, because obviously they're locked. So if we need to update something, to add lines, please email. When you're emailing on NIFA specific things, you can send them to myself, Pam, and Cassandra. And then if you have specific DED questions, you're definitely welcome to reach out directly to DED. And Michelle Grimes is the Home and Housing Trust Fund manager. So she's happy to help you out. Again, we really appreciate you attending today. This will be posted and available online, as well as the PowerPoint presentation will be available. Please feel free to email us questions. We will have a running FAQ that we will have available on the website. As we get questions, we'll definitely try to update it after each Q&A session. Usually within the next within a few days of that Q&A session, just so that everyone has access to the same information. Does anyone have any questions at this point in time? We may not be able to answer them for you today, but answers would be provided in the FAQ documents. But if you have any questions, please feel free.
Yeah,
Okay.
if you have questions, make sure to unmute yourself because you're all muted.
Thanks, Pam. Okay.
I don't see anyone.
Yep. Thank you for joining us today. And
there is a question. It was typed in the chat. Is there a sense for dollar amount of allocation for 2026?
Do you mean the overall private activity volume cap that'll be available?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, we can go ahead and share that with you. We have a very limited amount that's actually just for multifamily housing. For the round with state credits, so the tax exempt bonds, 4% credits with the state credits, there's only 35 million available in that round. And then in the 4% tax exempt bond only round, there's 35 million available. Together, we do, every time we do a QAP, we now request some of the governor's discretionary volume cap in order to be able to pair with the with that 70 million basically. So we typically, what we request, and again, it depends on availability, but what we've requested and what we've had available in recent years is approximately an additional $77 million. So we can try to flesh that out a little bit more for you, but to have you really understand what's available. But the way our pools are set up, we're kind of at the mercy of what's available from the governor's discretionary funds. But we'll put that out in the FAQ for you.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Anything else? Okay. Well, thank you, everyone. We really appreciate your time today. And again, feel free to reach out with any questions. And don't forget your letter of intents are due on the 30th by 5 Central. Thank you.